Welcome back to the all-new Digital Rage. I am Jeff, the producer here at Buyer Company. In this episode, we explore how Google's AI-powered features like SGE and featured snippets are keeping users on search pages, cutting into your traffic, leads, and authority. Traditional SEO is losing its edge, and B2B marketers must adapt fast. Let's dive into what this means and what to do next.
So, for years, the internet kind of operated on this unspoken deal, right? Businesses put out good, valuable content. Google found it, indexed it. And this is the key part. Google sent people searching for that stuff to those websites. Organic search was huge, especially if you were B2B. It was like the main way to get leads. But that deal, it's starting to fall apart. Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're digging into something a listener flagged for us based on some sources they sent over. It's being called the Great Decoupling. And our job today is, well, to figure this out. What is this Great Decoupling? How's it actually playing out right now? What does it mean for your business, your web traffic? And look, most importantly, what can you actually do about it?
The Great Decoupling is basically a way to describe Google's big strategic change. What they're doing is answering more and more user questions directly on the search results page itself. The SERP. And because they do that, people don't need to click through to other websites as much. It's fundamentally unhooking getting the information from actually visiting the website that has it.
Okay, so it's not just helping you find the link anymore, it's giving you the answer right then and there, without you having to leave Google.
Exactly.
That feels like a pretty fundamental shift. What are we seeing? Like, what features actually do this?
Oh, you've definitely seen them. Featured snippets that's sometimes called position 0, where Google just lifts an answer and puts it right at the top. Knowledge panels, too, the boxes with quick facts. And people also ask the PAA sections.
Yeah, the drop-downs, the ones where you click one, then another, and suddenly you're still on Google 10 minutes later.
That's the one.
Yeah.
And then there's local packs, the map results, obviously shopping ads and results. And increasingly, these whole separate answer engines within Google, like Google Flights, Google Hotels, Recipes, they handle specific types of searches entirely.
Okay, so those are already kind of keeping people on Google, but the sources mentioned something else, something accelerating this decoupling even faster, the big one.
Right. That would be Search Generative Experience, SGE. That's the real game changer here.
SGE, break that down. What is it?
Sure. SGE is Google's new AI stuff. It scans multiple websites, pulls info together, and then writes its own summary answer. It gives you this, comprehensive response right there on the results page, instantly.
Yeah.
You might ask something pretty complex and get a whole paragraph or more answering it. No click needed.
Wow. Okay. And the big picture for Google in doing all this, the snippets, SGE, keeping people from clicking, what's their end game?
Well, it seems pretty clear their goal is to keep users inside the Google ecosystem for longer. More time on Google pages means more chances to show ads, more engagement data for them, and the direct casualty in all this. For publishers, for businesses like yours, it's the organic click-through rate. It's going down. Fewer people are clicking the links to your site. Simple as that.
Fewer clicks. That really hits home. So let's talk about B2B, because B2B marketing has relied so heavily on organic search leads. What does this decoupling actually mean for, day-to-day SEO work? The old rank high, get clicks model sounds, well, broken.
It is. Fundamentally, the most obvious thing is what some call the vanishing click. You can rank number 1, do everything right, but it's just no guarantee of traffic anymore. Google might just grab your answer, put it in a snippet or an SGE summary, and boom, the user got what they needed. They never visit your page. We're seeing these zero-click search numbers climb really high, often over 50, maybe even 60% for lots of searches. Think about that. More than half the people searching might never leave Google.
Wow. It's like setting up a perfect shop window, but Google builds a kiosk right in front of your door, giving away samples of your product.
That's a pretty good analogy, yeah.
And for B2B, a lot of our content is educational, top-of-funnel stuff. What happens to that?
Well, that leads to the next point. Devalued informational content. B2B thrives on those guides, the what is X articles, the pieces explaining problems.
Yeah.
But if Google just gives the basic answer, what is CRM, or how does this tech work right on the SRP, then the reason to click your detailed article shrinks dramatically. Your expertise, your thought leadership, it kind of just becomes source material for Google's AI.
Okay, so fewer clicks overall, and the content we create to attract clicks is being used against us in a way. And I assume the competition for the clicks that are left is getting worse.
Exactly. That's the increased competition for fewer clicks. Look at a search results page now. You've got ads at the top, maybe an SGE box, then featured snippets, people also ask, videos, images, the traditional blue links, the organic results, they just get pushed further and further down. You're fighting harder for a much smaller piece of the attention.
And tracking becomes a nightmare, right? If someone sees an SGE answer, gets the gist, then maybe remembers your brand and comes directly later.
Right.
How do you even know SEO played a role? It feels like an attribution black hole.
That's a perfect term for it. The journey is obscured. That initial touch point, the value SEO provided, it gets lost. Makes proving ROI way harder. You don't know what's really driving things downstream.
Okay, this is sounding pretty bleak for B2B web traffic. Let's talk bottom line. What are the direct business consequences here?
They're significant, and they hit hard. First, lead generation erosion. It's straightforward. Organic traffic fuels the B2B pipeline. Fewer clicks mean fewer people signing up for newsletters, downloading guides, requesting demos. That directly hits your sales opportunities. Less fuel, less pipeline, less revenue. Second, inevitably, higher customer acquisition costs. Your CAC goes up. As that free organic traffic dries up, you have to replace it somehow. That usually means spending more on paid channels. And ironically, often that means more money to Google Ads or LinkedIn ads or other paid platforms. So it costs you more to get each customer.
And what about the actual value B2B offers? Our solutions are often complex. They need explaining. Google's quick answers can't possibly cover that depth, can they?
No, they often can't. And that leads to a sort of commoditization of expertise. Your deep, nuanced explanations are what build trust and show value. But Google's surface-level answer might satisfy that initial curiosity, so the user never gets to your site to see the real depth, the context they need to actually understand your solution. And finally, there's the long-term brand building suffers aspect. Organic search isn't just about immediate leads. It's how you build visibility, authority, brand recognition over time. Less visibility, fewer site visits, that weakens your brand's position in the long run.
Okay, so the landscape is definitely changing, and it sounds like just doing the same old SEO isn't going to cut it. This isn't just a tweak, it's a whole new game. So where do we go from here? How do businesses, especially B2B, adapt?
It really requires a pretty radical rethink. Adaptation is key. The first thing is that SEO tactics will fundamentally shift. It's not just about Google anymore. SEO needs to become more like search experience optimization. And that experience happens across many platforms. Think YouTube, think LinkedIn, niche industry communities, maybe even TikTok, depending on your B2B space.
Beyond Google. That sounds daunting. Google's been the center of the universe for so long.
It is a shift. And it also means doubling down on channels you own. Your email list, any community you run, those become critical. And within search itself, you need a target intent beyond the query. Just ranking for keywords, that's becoming obsolete. You have to understand the deeper user journey. What complex problems are they trying to solve that Google can't just answer in a paragraph? Things like detailed product comparisons, implementation guides, ROI calculators, content that requires real engagement on your site.
So focus on the complex stuff Google can't easily summarize. But what about optimizing for Google summaries themselves? Can you influence SGE?
Yeah, that's the idea behind answer optimization for SGE. It's about structuring your content so it's easily digestible by the AI. The goal isn't necessarily the click anymore, but getting your information, maybe your brand name, cited within that SGE answer. Think of it like trying to get prominent placement on a digital shelf inside Google's answer box. Even without the click, there's visibility value there. And underpinning all of this, owned audiences are paramount. Building that direct line through email, through a community, a podcast, that lets you bypass Google's gatekeeping.
Okay, so tactics shift. What about the traffic itself? You mentioned fewer clicks overall. Does the traffic that does get through change in value?
That's a really crucial point. B2B traffic value will polarize. It'll be two extremes. On one hand, the traffic that does navigate past the SGE, past the snippets, and actually clicks through to your site, that traffic is likely much more qualified, much more valuable. These are people whose needs weren't met by the quick answer. They have deeper questions, stronger intent. But on the other hand, the overall volume of organic traffic is likely to keep falling for many B2B sites, which, as we said, pushes your customer acquisition cost up. So converting the high-intent traffic you do get, that becomes absolutely critical. Efficiency is key.
It feels like this whole shift really changes the relationship businesses have with Google, the trust. It seems like it's eroding. The source material was quite strong on this point, wasn't it? Talking about extraction, not just evolution.
It was very strong. It frames this as trust in Google as a neutral search provider will continue to erode. One phrase used was the monopoly tax. The argument is basically that Google, because it's so dominant, can kind of exploit its position. They use the content everyone else creates to train their AI, to populate their results pages, and then they change the system to keep the audience and the revenue for themselves. The source argues it's leveraging monopoly power to capture value that others created.
It sounds a bit like Google invited everyone to bring dishes to a potluck, then built a fence around the food and started charging admission. Is that reading too much into it?
Well, that's certainly the sentiment expressed in the source material. SGE is seen as the ultimate walled garden. Google stops being the gateway to information and becomes the destination. The source put it bluntly. They aren't just answering queries, they are actively stealing clicks and monetizing attention that previously flowed to the creators. The potential conflict of interest is pretty stark.
And if users and businesses get frustrated enough, does that open the door for other search engines or information tools?
It could. The source suggests this frustration might fuel more experimentation with alternative search tools, especially for more sophisticated users, maybe in research-heavy B2B fields. You might see more use of things like Perplexity, maybe Find, specialized B2B search tools, even LinkedIn's own search becoming more important for professional queries. And the ongoing Department of Justice antitrust case against Google, that certainly adds weight to these concerns about market dominance and anti-competitive behavior.
Okay, so pulling all these threads together, the vanishing click, the devalued content, the rising costs, the trust issues, what's the big overarching message here for our listener?
I think the core message is this. The great decoupling shows Google is prioritizing its own platform growth, its own revenue, its own shareholder value. And that priority seems to be coming, perhaps, at the expense of the open web ecosystem and the businesses that build it. For B2B marketers specifically, just sticking to the old SEO playbook, hoping for those organic clicks like before, that strategy looks increasingly unsustainable. The source was quite direct. Google is no longer a reliable partner. It's a dominant platform extracting value from your content.
Wow. Okay. So for everyone listening, running their business, planning their marketing, what's the actionable takeaway? What do you do now?
It really boils down to needing radical adaptation. There's no single magic bullet, but it involves several things, done consistently. You have to diversify your traffic sources almost obsessively. Don't rely solely on Google Organic. You need to build those own audiences, fiercely email, communities, whatever connects you directly. You have to create content that's so uniquely valuable, so deep, so context-rich, that even Google's AI can't just summarize its core utility away. And finally, you need to optimize ruthlessly for converting the high-intent traffic that does manage to get through Google's SRP gauntlet. Make every click count.
Okay, let me leave you with a final thought on this, something to chew on. The era of easy, abundant, free Google traffic. It looks like it's closing. We're entering a new era. An era where you're fighting for the remaining scraps inside Google's walled garden, yes, but maybe more importantly, you're building your own fortresses outside those walls, relying on Google's goodwill. That seems like a luxury B2B marketers just can't afford anymore.
Reach out to us at jbuyer.com for comments and questions. Follow us at Buyer Company on social media, and if you'd be so kind, please rate and review us in your podcast app.